He lived alone on a planet no one dared to name, hunted by beasts, haunted by his past. For over 1,000 days, Lauren Merrick didn't speak to a single soul until something fell from the sky. A crash, a stranger, and a choice that would shatter his isolation forever. This isn't just a story about survival. It's about trust, sacrifice, and what happens when two worlds collide in the deadliest place in the galaxy. Welcome to Duskwither. If you are new here, then please subscribe this channel and show thumbs up by liking the video. Let's move toward wonderful story. Lauren Merrick hadn't heard another human voice in over 3 years. The acid wind howled outside the shelter walls, brushing against the solar panels with a sizzling hiss. Duskwither was not a forgiving planet. Its sky, forever stained a dusty orange, rumbled with thunder that rarely brought clean rain. Only the burning kind that ate through metal and bone alike. But Lauren had learned how to survive here. He'd built his compound from wrecked parts and scavenged debris, welded with stubborn hands and long hours. It wasn't pretty, but it kept the death outside where it belonged. He stood by the reinforced window, staring out into the storm. Thick clouds moved like bruises across the sky. The jungle beyond the perimeter fence glowed faintly from the bioluminescent vines, eerie and beautiful, yet filled with creatures that hunted anything that breathed. On Duskwither, everything was either trying to eat you or poison you. Lauren checked the time. Local time, 23:59. He marked it quietly with a half-smile. Day 1 now 1:22. Over 1,000 days of solitude, and it still surprised him how quiet it had all become. No alarms, no orders, no responsibilities outside surviving. For a long time, that had felt like peace. But tonight felt different. He moved to the systems panel, just as a warning light flickered red. Sector 9 perimeter, disturbance detected. Lauren narrowed his eyes and zoomed in the surveillance feed. The camera was blurry from acidic mist, but movement was clear. Something fast, something big. He reached for the rifle hanging near the door, its weight familiar in his hand. He'd named it Old Whisper, not because it was quiet, but because he rarely needed to fire more than once. On Duskwither, you learned your targets quickly or you didn't last. But the perimeter held. After a moment, the figure moved out of range and the alert dimmed. He lowered the rifle. Just another prowler testing the fence. They always came back. They always learned. Lauren turned to head back toward his small workstation, when another alarm sounded. This one deeper, sharper. Not from the perimeter, from the sky. He rushed to the scanner array, an aging panel patched with wires and cracked screens, but still functional. The long-range display was blinking furiously. An object had entered the atmosphere, large, fast, and unstable. He watched as its path curved wildly, struggling to correct. Not a supply drop, not a drone. A ship. The impact hit minutes later. Distant, but not far enough to ignore. A dull quake trembled under Lauren's feet, followed by a short burst of static on his comms channel. Then nothing. He stared at the screen for a long moment, thinking it could be an escape pod. A survey team. A criminal transport, maybe. No one came to Duskwither on purpose. The planet was red-marked, officially uninhabitable, even by frontier standards. So if someone had landed, they were either desperate or doomed. Lauren told himself. To leave it alone. Someone else's problem. He didn't need to get involved. He had enough ghosts as it was. But he'd seen the flames from the impact, the way the jungle had split beneath it. And even now, he knew the predators of Duskwither would be moving toward the wreck. They always followed fire. It meant fresh meat. With a tired sigh, he turned to the wall locker and started gathering supplies. Hazard suit, rebreather mask, ammo cartridges. He grabbed the field pack and slung it over one shoulder, flipping the generator override as he passed. Lights dimmed across the compound to reserve power. The outer gates opened with a metallic groan. The crawler waited in the garage, its thick wheels built for swamp and stone. Lauren climbed in and keyed the ignition. The engine coughed to life. On a shelf above the dash, a small figurine of a ship rested, His old vessel, the Eos Valor. He didn't look at it for long. As the crawler rolled out into the storm, the acid rain tapped gently on the armored windows. Lauren focused on the path ahead, eyes scanning for movement, for shapes that didn't belong. He didn't know who had fallen from the sky. But as much as he wanted to believe he'd left the world behind, left people behind, he couldn't let someone else die if there was a chance they could be saved. Not again. He pressed harder on the accelerator, the jungle rising around him like a wall of shadows. Duskwither whispered and crackled with unseen threats, but Lauren Merrick did not flinch. He had lived in the dark too long to be afraid of it, and somewhere in that darkness someone was waiting. They just didn't know it yet. The rain had slowed to a harsh drizzle by the time Lauren reached the crash site, but the jungle still steamed, with heat and tension. A long scar had been cut through the trees, smoke rising from torn metal and splintered earth. Branches sizzled where acid droplets struck, and strange insects buzzed angrily in the mist. The wreckage looked like it had been twisted by invisible hands, crumpled hull plates, cracked glass, wiring spilling like entrails into the mud. Lauren brought the crawler to a stop behind a fallen tree and killed the engine. He climbed out quietly, pulse rifle ready, boots crunching on the broken ground. The air smelled of burning metal, ozone, and something sharper, like blood but not quite. He moved with caution, eyes scanning the shadows. Duskwither was never quiet for long, and whatever had landed here had made a lot of noise. A flash of movement caught his attention. Near the remains of the cockpit, a hatch hissed open. A figure stumbled out, tall and strangely graceful, wobbling slightly as if the gravity pressed too heavily. Lauren stepped back, rifle lowered but ready. The figure straightened and turned. She was unlike anything he'd seen before. Not human, but close. Pale, almost silver skin shimmered faintly under the stormlight. Her hair was short and metallic white, soaked from the rain. A long, flexible tail helped her balance as she limped forward, holding a sleek weapon in one hand. "Stop there," she called out, her voice clear and sharp, with an accent that twisted the words slightly. "Identify yourself." Lauren didn't raise his rifle. "Name's Lauren Merrick. I live here." She narrowed her eyes. "This system is restricted. What are you doing on this planet?" "Surviving," he said. "And right now, trying to help you survive too." A low growl echoed through the trees. The sound was deep and wet like gravel underwater. Lauren's head snapped toward the noise, instincts flaring. She heard it too. Her weapon flicked toward the jungle, scanning for targets. "Something's coming," she said. "No, not something," Lauren corrected. "A lot of somethings. You crashing here? That's a dinner bell." From the trees, a creature burst into view, four-legged, armored, with a jagged crest down its back. A clawhound, fast and vicious, teeth like hooked glass. It lunged straight for the stranger. She fired first. 3 bright pulses lit the air, but the shots bounced off the beast's hide. Lauren dropped to one knee and squeezed the trigger. His pulse rifle roared, and the rounds slammed into the creature's neck, punching through the thinner plating. It collapsed mid-leap, twitching violently in the mud. She turned to him, eyes wide. "That thing was armored. Your weapon. How did it breach the plating?" "Because I've had practice." Lauren reloaded calmly. "You've got about 90 seconds before more show up. You coming or staying?" She hesitated, then lowered her weapon slightly. "My ship's core. It's unstable. If they damage it, then we've got bigger problems," Lauren finished. "Let's move." He guided her toward the crawler. She walked with a limp, her tail swaying to keep her balanced. Lauren noticed the gash on her leg, silver blood oozing into her boot. Still, she moved with control, like someone trained for danger. Military, maybe. They reached the crawler just as another creature appeared behind them. Lauren turned and fired, forcing it back, then helped her into the passenger seat. She sank into the seat, breathing hard, keeping her weapon across her lap. "I'm Commander Kayla Virel," she said. "Scout team from the Valari Confederacy." Lauren started the engine. "Well, Commander, welcome to Duskwither. It hates all of us equally." They sped through the trees, the crawler bouncing over roots and half-buried wreckage. Behind them, Kayla kept watch, her eyes scanning the jungle for shadows. Lauren stole a glance at her. Alien. Yes, but not cold. Her expression was sharp, calculating, but there was something else beneath it. Worry, uncertainty, maybe even fear. "What happened to your team?" he asked. "Didn't make it out of orbit," she said quietly. "I was the only one who ejected in time." "I know the feeling," Lauren muttered. She didn't ask what he meant, and he didn't explain. The compound came into view, a patchwork fortress of metal, glass, and reinforced walls. The energy shield flickered as the crawler passed through, parting the rain like a curtain. Once inside, Lauren parked near the main structure and jumped out. "Get inside," he said. "You need that leg treated." Kyla climbed out, her movement stiff. Inside the compound, the air was clean, filtered. The lights were dim, but the place was alive, machines humming, systems scanning. It was the home of someone who had fought long and hard to stay alive. Lauren led her to the med station and knelt beside her. "I've got some treatment mixes that work on local infections. Might sting." "I've felt worse," she said, watching him carefully. He cleaned the wound and applied a thick green paste. Her face twitched slightly, but she stayed still. Up close, he could see the fine patterns on her skin, like faint lines of light under the surface. "You built all this?" she asked, nodding toward the room. "Piece by piece," Lauren replied. "Crashes leave behind a lot of useful junk." Kayla was silent for a while. Then she said, "I didn't expect to find anyone here, especially not someone helping a stranger." Lauren shrugged. "Someone didn't stop for me once. I remember what that felt like." She met his eyes. "Then maybe I should be thankful. They didn't." Outside, the storm still raged, but inside the shelter something had shifted. Two survivors, two worlds apart, now tied together by accident, or something more. Neither of them said it out loud, but both felt it. The rules of Duskwither had changed. 2 days passed since the crash, and the jungle around the compound had grown quieter, but not safer. Duskwither never stayed calm for long. Lauren knew that better than anyone. Deep down, he could feel something building, like pressure behind thick glass waiting to crack. Inside the workshop, Kayla stood over the damaged energy core from her ship, frustration tight on her face. Sparks danced along the edges of the device, its surface lined with deep fractures and faded glows. Whatever had gone wrong during the descent had shaken the technology loose from the inside. "This core is beyond repair," Kayla said, her voice low and tired. "The harmonics are broken. Even the containment mesh is falling apart. If we can't stabilize it, it'll collapse." Lauren leaned against a table, arms crossed, watching her pace. "There might be another way," he said after a long silence. "About 60 kilometers south, there's a graveyard." She looked up sharply. "A graveyard?" "Of ships," he explained. "Wrecks from the early attempts to colonize this world, human vessels mostly, all failed. But there's tech there, cores, conduits, structure plates. If we're lucky, something still works." Kayla hesitated. "You think we can replace Velaran energy systems with human ones?" "Not replace," Lauren said, walking over to the core. "Adapt. You said your systems run on quantum harmonics. Human cores use quantum folding. Different tech, sure, but similar foundations. With the right adjustments, maybe they can speak the same language." Kayla frowned, clearly unsure. "It would be unorthodox." "Unorthodox is the only way to survive out here," he said. "You've seen what this planet does to plans." The decision didn't come easy, but eventually Kayla nodded. They packed quickly. Tools, power cells, scanners, and weapons. The crawler was refueled and ready. As they rolled out of the compound, the forest seemed to watch them go. The trees swayed like waiting giants. The acid drizzle had started again, painting wet scars on anything unprotected. The graveyard was silent when they arrived. Shattered hulls leaned against twisted trees. Broken masts rose from the jungle floor like bones. Lauren parked the crawler near the edge and stepped out cautiously. He'd been here once before years ago and barely made it back alive. Something about the place unsettled the wildlife. It was always too quiet. Kayla moved ahead, her scanner humming. "Multiple core signals," she said. "Most are low, but a few still have charge." "Let's get what we can before the rain eats through our suits," Lauren replied. They worked fast, stripping power cells, data chips, and fragments of casing. Kayla paused at one old ship, her hand resting on a scorched symbol painted near the airlock. "You were part of this?" she asked. Lauren glanced over. "No, but I knew one of the crews. They tried to build a settlement. The forest took it all back in less than a week." The scanner beeped sharply. A still active core buried beneath a collapsed engine. Kayla crouched down and started clearing debris while Lauren kept watch. His fingers tightened on his rifle as movement flickered in the trees. A low sound like gravel sliding underwater sent a chill through him. "Kayla," he warned. "Something's coming." She didn't stop. Almost got it. Just a few more wires to sever. The ground shook and a large creature stepped from the jungle. A silkback, six-legged, lean, and nearly invisible until it moved. It sniffed the air. Large eyes locked onto the energy signals. Lauren fired first, 2 rounds slamming into its chest. The beast shrieked and fell back, crashing into metal scraps. But others followed. 2 more slipped from the trees, drawn by the scent of power and heat. Kayla ripped the core free and shouted, "Got it! Go!" They ran for the crawler as the creatures charged. Lauren turned and fired, slowing them just long enough for Kayla to dive into the passenger seat. He jumped behind the wheel and gunned the engine, tires spitting up mud and sparks. One of the silkbacks scraped against the side, claws leaving deep gouges, but they broke through the tree line and sped away. Back in the compound, Kayla laid the salvaged core on the workbench, her hands still shaking. Lauren checked the perimeter and returned to find her staring at the device with a thoughtful expression. "We'll need to rewrite the stabilization program," she said. "Yours uses voltage scaling. Ours uses pulse rhythm. If we merge them..." "It could work," Lauren said quietly. "If we're careful." They worked through the night side by side. Slowly, piece by piece, they merged alien precision with human toughness. Sparks flew, wires tangled, heat levels rose and dropped. At one point, Kayla stopped and looked at him. "You know," she said, "back home I was told humans were reckless, that your solutions were always just patches on broken machines. And what do you think now?" he asked. She didn't smile, but her tone softened. "I think sometimes the patch is what keeps everything together." Lauren said nothing. Outside, the wind rose again. Duskwither whispered threats as it always did, but for the first time in a long while he didn't feel alone with it. And deep beneath the iron roots of this hostile world, something new was beginning to take shape. Something fragile, something strange. But maybe, just maybe, something strong. Lauren stood at the edge of the compound, watching the sky turn darker than usual. Duskwither's storms were always violent, but this one was different. The wind howled like a warning, and the air tasted metallic, heavy with energy. Behind him, the newly built hybrid core hummed with quiet power. It was the result of long nights, careful hands, and an uneasy but growing trust between 2 people from different worlds. The core pulsed gently, stable for now, but its signal had not gone unnoticed. Inside the workshop, Kayla adjusted the final settings on the cores. New housing. Her fingers moved quickly, but her expression was tense. She paused to check a handheld scanner, and her face went pale. "Lauren," she called, not looking up. "We've got a problem." He stepped in quickly. "How bad?" "Movement from the south," she said. "Multiple heat signatures. Large. At least 15. The pack is coming." Lauren's chest tightened. "That's no hunting group. That's a migration." She nodded. "And they're heading straight for us. The radiation from the core is drawing them in." He stared at the screens as more dots appeared, all converging. These weren't just predators, they were shadow beasts, the most intelligent and dangerous creatures on Duskwither. And they were gathering. "We can't hold them off," he said. Not all of them. Kayla turned from the console. Then, we move. Lauren blinked. Move? Yes, she said. We load the core into the crawler and lead them away. We take it somewhere remote. Somewhere they can't reach the compound. That's suicide, he replied. The crawler isn't built to outrun them, and the storm's already begun. I know, she said softly. But if we stay, everything we've built gets torn apart. He ran a hand over his face, thinking fast. Then he looked at her. Really? Looked, and saw that she wasn't just proposing a plan. She was offering to stand with him no matter the outcome. All right, he said. Let's do it. They worked quickly, strapping the core into the crawler's rear chamber and activating the mobile power system. Kayla uploaded a looping energy pattern to keep the signal steady, while Lauren checked the defensive gear. Every second, the storm grew louder, the wind slamming into the compound's outer walls like fists. Just before they left, Lauren turned, back one last time to look at the place that had been his prison and his refuge. He felt a strange ache, not of fear, but of change. He'd come here to disappear. Now he was heading into danger to protect something he'd helped create. The crawler's engine roared as they pulled away from the compound. Acid rain streaked the windshield and the jungle blurred past in streaks of dark green and glowing orange. Behind them, shapes moved in the mist, tall, fast, and relentless. Lauren kept his eyes on the path ahead, hands tight on the controls. Kayla monitored the core's readings, her voice calm despite the tremble in the air. They're gaining, she said. The large one, he's leading them. That's the Alpha, Lauren muttered. He's the one who's tested my fences more than once. I call him Iron Jaw. Kayla glanced back. He's beautiful and terrifying. Like this planet, Lauren said. The crawler hit a stretch of uneven ground and bounced hard. A warning light blinked on the dashboard. Engine overheating. Lauren slammed a button to reroute power and the crawler steadied. North Ridge, he said. It's higher ground. If we can make it there, we can overload the core and scatter the pack. Kayla stared. Overload? That will destroy the core. I know, he said, but it'll buy us time. They're hunting the energy, take it away, and they lose interest. She was quiet for a moment. We built it together. You really think we can build another one? Lauren looked at her. With you? Yes. They reached the ridge just as the beasts emerged from the jungle. Massive, fast, and silent, they moved like shadows with teeth. Ironjaw roared, his body gleaming with scars from old fights. He charged first. Kayla activated the overload sequence. The core began to glow brighter, energy pulsing faster. We've got 90 seconds. Lauren opened the crawler's side panel and fired at the approaching pack. The rifle's blasts lit the storm, slowing the smaller creatures but not stopping them. Kayla joined him, using a compact beam weapon to target the faster ones. They fought side by side, backs pressed against the crawler as the pack closed in. Then the core reached critical. A surge of blue light exploded outward, a shockwave, knocking the beasts backward. The air buzzed with static as the predators reeled, confused and disoriented. Ironjaw roared again, but this time, it was a retreating call. One by one, the creatures vanished into the trees, their senses overwhelmed. Silence returned. Lauren dropped, to his knees, exhausted. Kayla sat beside him, breathing hard. The rain had finally stopped, leaving only steam and broken branches behind. It's gone, she said softly. The core, he nodded. But we're still here. She looked at him, her eyes soft. So, what now? Lauren stood slowly, offering her a hand. We build another. Better this time. Mobile. Smarter. She smiled and took his hand. Together? Yeah, he said. Together. As they walked back to the crawler, the sky above Duskwither began to clear for the first time in days. A faint light broke through the clouds, not a sunrise, but something close. And for the first time in a long while, Lauren felt like it wasn't just the end of another fight. It was the start of something real, something that would last.